One of the many benefits of a living, breathing open world of games like World of Warcraft is that sometimes the community latches on to throw away ideas that the developers didn't expect, organically growing them into parts of the culture of the game. This was undoubtedly the case with an orc named Mankrik, the subject of a questline in vanilla WoW that almost every Horde player encountered, but offered little to no direction on how to actually complete it. The infamy of Mankrik and his partner Olgra grew every time a new player would ask those adventuring through the Crossroads, "Where is Mankrik's wife?" Blizzard took this in good spirits, however, incorporating Mankrik and Olgra into parts of their ongoing stories, lore, and even in other Blizzard titles. But if you follow the storyline given by Mankrik's quests, you see a sullen story full of sadness and loss, but one that also ends with a sense of hope for the future. So let's walk through the tragedy of Mankrik's wife. Before we get started, I would like to kindly ask you to like this video if you're enjoying it, and to subscribe if you want to see more. You can also ring the bell to satiate the ever-hungering YouTube algorithm, in hopes that this content will actually get shown to other people. That's also the single best way to see when new videos about the lore, world building, and storytelling of your favorite fantasy, sci-fi, and superhero franchises go up. And if you'd like to keep updated with the channel or see other exclusive bite-sized bits of content, go follow me on other social medias including Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. But with all that business out of the way, let's get started. Many moons ago, after completing my initial training as a hero for the Horde in Durotar, I traveled into the neighboring province of the Barrens. The land was vast and, true to its name, empty, barren. I made my way to the town situated at the intersection of the province's main thoroughfares, a settlement appropriately named the Crossroads. There was much work to do here. Harpies and centaurs and lions all threatening this island of civilization in a sea of wilderness. But one man caught my eye, an orc named Mankrik, radiating frustration, anxiety, and rage. Judging by the banner he flies, he's a blade master of the Burning Blade clan. One such as he should not need the help of one such as I. But once I built up enough confidence, I approached the orc and see what was wrong. He tells me,
"I came to the Crossroads from the south seeking help, but I find only cowards who turn their backs on me. Even the mighty Thor insults me so. He is a good leader, but his dismissal of my plea causes me greater anger. He claims my rage makes me hasty, that it clouds my judgment, but I will not rest until I have my vengeance. We battled in a small Tauren camp when we were separated. She held 3 of the bristleback off by herself, but the odds began to overwhelm us. I led some away only to see her overwhelmed by newcomers. In my rage, I turned to face my enemies, but they brought me down easily with their vast numbers. I awoke to a Tauren druid tending my wounds. He had come across me on the Gold Road as I fell. Please, find some sign of my wife."
I cannot imagine the stress of this uncertainty. It would be honorable to seek out any word I can find. I bid Mankrik farewell and make my way south. But the Barrens are a massive stretch of land, an ocean of amber grass hiding beasts beneath its waves. I search high and low for any sign of Mankrik's wife, climbing hills and mountains, behind fallen trees, asking every soul I came across if they had any direction I could follow. Some seemed eager to help, others as if they'd heard this question a time or two. I wondered briefly if I was the first Mankrik had sent to tend to this task, before I spotted it. Off the path, 2 small Tauren structures, a tent and a mill, poking up from the horizon. I make my way there, examining the derelict structures with care. If someone lived here, no one does anymore. The tent is empty, though the axe driven into the wooden drum may be a sign that a battle happened here. As I make my way over to the mill, however, I see it, a beaten corpse lying in the dirt. I kneel down to get a better look at it. The body is that of a female orc warrior. It is clear that she died in battle, probably against the Quillboar in the area. I turn the body over and see the marks from blades and spells upon the deceased orc. Her armor is all but destroyed, her hair matted to her face. Based on Mankrik's description of her, there is no doubt in my mind that this is his wife. He will be upset by the news, but I am sure that he should know the truth. With haste, I make my way back to the Crossroads, stopping only long enough to call upon the spirits of my ancestors to lend me a form that may make the journey quicker. Part of me wishes I could have brought the corpse back with me, but that is a deed I feel Mankrik will wish to undertake himself. With solemn steps, I approach the man. He says,
"Have you found any sign of her at all? The pain in my chest tells me the worst has happened, but I have hope that you will find her safe and sound. I understand. Thank you."
He stops for a moment, lost in his thoughts, his memories, his sorrows, his anger. I cautiously ask if there's anything else I can do for him. It's the least I can offer. He says,
"Perhaps you know the pain of uncertainty, perhaps not. But know this, I stand here every day, from the sun's rising till its decline, scouring the horizon for more of those monsters. I've killed every pigman I've come across since, but my thirst for their blood is far from quenched. Perhaps instead of heading north to the Crossroads, I should have headed to Taurajo. You could help me. Kill them. Kill as many as you can. Bring me their tusks and we shall celebrate their deaths together."
Part of me fears that the news I brought to Mankrik has set him down a darkened path, but I do not feel as if I can refuse this request. The swine have killed countless more than just his wife, so bringing the retribution of the elements is the least I can do for all of them. The work is hard and bloody, but I get it done, returning to Mankrik with a brow sodden with sweat and a bag full of broken tusks. He says,
"The Quillboar will pay for this. I swear it. You take my task seriously, and for that, I thank you. I can at least smile seeing that the Quillboar have felt pain themselves."
Mankrik's smile hides a boiling sadness just underneath, but there's little more I can do or offer for him now. With a nod, I walk off into the sunset, hoping that he finds peace someday. Years and years later, after the cataclysm rocked Azeroth to its core, another young hero of the Horde crosses the river from Durotar into the Barrens. While this land is still vast, it's not as empty. Years and years of settlement from the Horde and colonization from the Alliance have filled it nicely, though Deathwing's cataclysmic return has wretched the land in two. What's more, it appears the Quillboar have taken the opportunity of the disaster's confusion to make a move against the Horde. I come upon Groldom Farm, partially under siege from the swine, though other defenders have secured the eastern parts of the farmstead. One orc in particular stands at the base of a hill, sword and shield at the ready. Behind him, there is a fire that always burns, keeping lit a body carefully wrapped in cloth and laid to rest with full orcish rites. Fresh flowers wreathe the corpse, obviously replaced quite frequently, and a humble monument marks the site. I walk to it, examining its surface and finding several etchings carved upon it. The small grave marker is lovingly inscribed with orcish runes. "Beloved Olgra, wife of Mankrik, it took forever to find you, and now you are gone." Ah, so the orc standing vigil over this site is Mankrik. I had heard of him. His tragedy and the legendary hatred he holds for the Quillboar are common talk in the taverns of Durotar. Curious, I walk back to him. It's not every day you meet a man you've heard so much about. I ask him if he needs anything, and he says,
"They murdered my wife. They burned my homestead. Since that awful night I have traveled these lands, from the sun's rising till its decline, scouring the horizon for more of those monsters. I've killed every pigman I've come across since, but my thirst for their blood is far from quenched. You could help me. Kill them. Kill as many as you can. Bring me their tusks, and we shall celebrate their deaths together.
After all these years, that need for revenge still burns within him. You would think that the thousands and thousands of tusks he must have collected over the years would sate such thirst. But, given that the nearby Quillboar are assaulting Grolgam, this is a task I can help Mankrik in. Dozens fall by my arrow, tusks broken from their body, until I have the number Mankrik requested. I return to him, and he says,
The Quillboar will pay for this, I swear it. Ha! You take my task seriously, and for that I thank you. Although my desire for revenge remains, I can at least smile, seeing that the Quillboar have felt pain themselves. I thank you. Your dedication to my plea gives rest to my lost wife's spirit, and for that, I could never repay you enough. I cannot say my hatred will ever cease for the Quillboar, but it is satiated for now. Now, I must begin to rebuild my life.
I nod to the orc and take my leave, wishing him the best as he starts that new journey. I travel to the Crossroads to help whomever else I can, not expecting to see Mankrik again. But our paths would cross sooner than I expected. As my adventures continued, I headed south, into the southern Barrens, where I came across the ruins of a small Tarn camp in the overgrowth of the Emerald Dream. I heard gossip at the Crossroads that this was where Mankrik's wife had originally been found. Now it has found new life. I hope the same can be said of Mankrik in his pain. Further south, almost at the southern tip of the plain, at Firestone Point, I found a small circle of shaman of the Earthen Ring. This is a peaceful place, a respite from the rest of this aching land. One of their number, an orc named Maka, calls me over as she sees me approach their fire. She says,
I would ask a favor of you. A warrior named Mankrik passed through our camp not long ago, on a lonely journey. His wife was killed by the Quillboar long ago, and he still seeks revenge. I cannot forget his eyes, burning with inconsolable hatred every waking moment. We did not talk long, but I cannot bear to think of him out there alone. Please, bring this to Mankrik, and tell him it was from me.
She hands me a small rucksack smelling of some freshly prepared food and points south to a figure flying a banner and standing amongst what appears to be mounds of tall grass. I nod to her and close the distance to the figure, whom I recognize as Mankrik, surrounded not by gently swaying leaves of grass, but by the still corpses of several Quillboar. I hail him as I approach. Mankrik snarls.
What is it? I'm busy. Maka sent you.
Mankrik's fury quells for a moment.
It is a small comfort, but nothing can console me until I am done here. For a moment, I thought my hatred had stilled. My wife laid to rest, a final offering of the blood of her murderers to quell her tortured spirit. I thought perhaps peace would appeal to me. I was wrong. I will not rest until every single filthy, squealing, murderous Quillboar lays dead and broken. I cannot kill them fast enough with my own two hands. Go and slay more for me.
I see the source of Maka's concern. This has grown quite a bit beyond a grudge of vengeance. But if I can help Mankrik settle that fury without throwing himself on some Quillboar's blade, I will. I make my way into the valley to the west and do as he asks. Arrow after arrow leaves my bowstring, and body after body falls. And though I fear he will not be satisfied, I return, and Mankrik says,
Good. Take your reward. This is only a prelude. I no longer care for honor or glory. All that matters to me is that the Quillboar die, by any means, at anyone's hands. Mangletooth, the chief of these filthy Razormanes, sits in his lair to the northwest atop a hill. End his life. I plan to stay here and pile these bodies until no more vermin run squealing from the crawl to face me.
This Bloodlust in Mankrik's veins frightens me, but this is still a task that needs doing, and so I will. I sneak further into the Quillbore camp, following the orc's instructions, climbing a hill and killing Mangletooth's guard. I kneel at the entrance of his tent, peeking in at the creature within. He is hideous, as horrifying as the fury that sent me here to kill him. I attack, and Mangletooth falls. I rip anything of value from his body, returning to Mankrik, but all he says is,
"Good, good. They will all die. Their chieftains and their women, and their children and their foul pets."
He again turns his sight back to the crawl, eyes glazing over in a bitter mania. This does not sit right with me. This is not right. But I do not believe that I am the one to quench this temper. I return to Maka, and thankfully, she has similar thoughts.
I cannot put him out of my mind. Sometimes at night I hear his howls of rage and suffering echoing across the plains. To imagine him out there, alone and in such pain. Please, I must ask a favor of you. Go to Mankrik and tell him to come see me.
I nod, and once again cautiously approach the bereaved Blade Master. I am hopeful, but not sure what she can say to help him.
"You again. I hope you didn't put too much faith in your actions settling my spirit. I've realized there will be no peace without her. Not anymore. I will see their homes razed. Are you ready to slay more of these disgusting murderers?"
Maka wants you to come see her, Mankrik.
"Maka wishes to see me? Very well. Return to her. I will follow."
We walk together back to Firestone Point, silence our only other companion as our boots crunch the dried grass underfoot. As we approach the fire, Maka smiles to the Blade Master.
Come, Mankrik. Sit beside me.
Mankrik grunts.
Look at this land, Mankrik. The Horde and Alliance tear the earth apart just to claw at each other in spite. Such hatred is only bringing us destruction. I can see it in you as you fight the Quillbore. Your anger does nothing but wear you away. You're destroying yourself, Mankrik.
There is nothing left for me. I seek a warrior's death. Is that wrong?
You seek escape, not glory. It's suicide.
So what if it is? Why do you even care?
Because despite what you think, there may be people in this world who would mourn your passing.
Maka.
Please, Mankrik, let go. Set down your blade.
This hatred has burned in me for years, Maka. Your words cannot lift it from me so easily.
You do not need to bear it alone. Come sit next to me and forget your troubles, if only for a while. Come see me whenever you are weary.
Mankrik nods.
Thank you, Maka.
The shaman looks to me and whispers,
Thank you.
I smile and turn to leave, hopeful that I have just helped a bleeding soul find triage in this world of Warcraft. Of course, this would not be the last we see of Mankrik. He has become somewhat of a recurring character in Warcraft multimedia, appearing as a legendary card in Hearthstone's Forged in the Barrens expansion, and again briefly defending the Gralgam farmstead during the Legion expansion. A younger version of Mankrik appears in the alternate Nagrand during the Warlords of Draenor expansion, searching for his kidnapped girlfriend Olgra, though she yet still lives in this timeline. Hell, Mankrik was so popular that his name was used as the name of a realm in classic World of Warcraft when it first launched. He also appeared in Stormsong Valley during the beta of Battle for Azeroth, once again fueled by his hatred for the Quillbore, though this was cut before the expansion went live. Personally, I think that was the right choice. Mankrik's entire story in the Southern Barrens was about letting go of that fiery anger in his soul, and to feed that fire any further would have been a detriment to his character. Mankrik's wife Olgra also later appeared in the Shadowlands, in the Maldraxxus afterlife, where she became a gladiator named Decimator Olgra, Vengeance of the Vanquished. If you talk to her, she mentions how her enemies' screams are not as satisfying as the Quillboar, but they'll do. Funnily enough, her title comes from Blizzard Outcasts, Vengeance of the Vanquished, one of Blizzard's infamous April Fool's jokes. This one was to be a 2D fighting game featuring exclusively obscure and background story characters as fighters, and Olgra was included as one of the many fighters in screenshots released with the announcement. Mankrik and Olgra weren't the only characters to find life beyond their original quest lines. The Duskwood questlines following the tragedy of Mor'Ladim and the legend of Stalvin likewise evolved into staples of small-scale Warcraft lore. If you want to hear more about those stories, check out the other videos in my Warcraft Quest and Lore series. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe for more, and ring the bell so others can actually find this content. You can also hit up my Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok for exclusive bite-sized content. As always, thank you so much for watching, and until next time.